Do you know people who are extremely focused on their vision and their goals and are motivated to their highest degree? People who are sometimes even obsessed with it as if nothing else matters? Do you want to learn how to deal better with this kind of people? Or do you sometimes wish that you yourself would be better able to give everything to achieve your goals? The psychological key to understand these character traits can reveal itself in the visionary archetype in the tradition of Jungian psychology. We give you this key and tell you also how to recognize the personality archetype of the visionary and its unbalanced manifestation, the borderline personality disorder, and give you some tips on how to deal with this type of person in an optimal way. At the end of the video, we also tell you how an unbalanced visionary or someone suffering from a borderline personality disorder can bring their personality back into balance. The archetypal visionary and the borderline personality disorder in 10 points. As explained in the intro video of this series, it's important for a healthy psychology to focus not only on the pathological manifestation of a personality trait, but also on its positive qualities. Therefore, we will take a closer look at both the borderline personality disorder and its positive counterpart, the visionary archetype. All the characteristics of an archetype can be derived from its personality traits, or the so-called metaprograms, which in turn can be derived from their position and correspondences and the meta-model of the psyche according to Stefan Fiebig. The special feature and strength of this archetype model is that it represents the basic structure with which the 14 personality archetypes are simply and unambiguously defined and classified with their personality traits. It is a natural and logical structure that can be used for numerous applications, such as, for example, a model for effective communication for hypnosis, coaching or psychotherapy, and it can also reveal useful cross-connections between them. As an example, we will show you right away the links between personality archetypes, the hero's journey, and the structure of any successful undertaking. Point 1. What makes the archetype of the visionary tick? The archetypal visionary belongs either to the melancholic or the phlegmatic temperament. He is focused on the realization of his great vision and his goals. His basic needs are having a mission and having a purpose. He is primarily interested in the ideals, and he is convinced that anything that does not contribute to the meaning of his life and the realization of his vision is of no importance at all. Point 2. The strength of the visionary. The main quality of the visionary archetype is his determination. He is able to focus all his attention and energy on one single goal and to devote himself to the achievement of this goal with complete commitment. Point 3. The visionary's weaknesses. Since only his vision and goals are important to him, he is virtually not capable of making compromises regarding his vision and goals. He tends to fanaticism and extremism, for he is willing to do everything he thinks is necessary to justify his goal or vision and to establish and realize it. Point 4. How to recognize the visionary archetype. There are some characteristics that allow us to recognize the visionary archetype as a personality trait. Since his focus is primarily on his vision and goals, he mainly talks about these and shows little interest in anything that is not related to them. He also gives much thought and effort to find the meaning of his life and how he can realize it. Like the Guardian, he talks little about himself, not because he's afraid of revealing something about himself that might be used against him, but rather because his own person is relatively unimportant to himself, since only his vision counts. Like the warrior, the visionary is enthusiastic about big goals, and he is basically willing to do anything to achieve his goal, but not because he loves challenges. He does so because he strives for meaning. Martin Luther King, Steve Jobs, and Elon Musk are good examples of the visionary archetype.
I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Our customers want to know who is Apple and what is it that we stand for. Where do we fit in this world? And what we're about isn't making boxes for people to get their jobs done, although we do that well. We do that better than almost anybody in some cases. But Apple's about something more than that. Apple, at the core, its core value, is that we believe that people with passion can change the world for the better. That's what we believe. And that those people that are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones that actually do.
Are you worried at all about GM beating you to the market with its upcoming Bolt due out next year?
You know, I think if GM comes to the market with a compelling electric car, that's great. You know, the goal of Tesla from the beginning has been to accelerate the advent of sustainable transport. So, you know, I think if GM or any other company comes out with compelling electric cars, that's good for the world, and you know, we would applaud them.
The visionary archetype can be confused with the archetype of the explorer, whose unbalanced form is the schizotypal personality disorder. There is also a danger of confusion with the archetype of the hermit. This is the archetype associated with the schizoid personality disorder. Point 5. What are a visionary's reactions in conflict situations? The visionary archetype has several defense mechanisms. One of them, splitting, consists of seeing everything in black and white and accordingly classifying both persons and objects only in 2 classes, good or evil. Everything that does not serve the achievement of his goals or could get in the way is therefore simply evil. Point 6. The visionary in mythology. The visionary archetype, like all personality archetypes, is a basic pattern of human experience. We find the archetypal visionary in many myths and fairy tales. We find, for example, Moses in biblical mythology, whom God gave the task to free the people of Israel from their slavery in Egypt. Through Moses, God announced his intention to his people. In the mythology of King Arthur and the Holy Grail, Percival represents the visionary archetype. Percival pursues only one goal. First, he wants to become a knight. Later, he leaves his beloved wife behind in order to find the Holy Grail, which takes him many years. We also find the visionary archetype in modern myths. In Harry Potter, Dumbledore represents the visionary archetype, and in Lord of the Rings, it is Gandalf who embodies this archetype. In Game of Thrones, Daenerys Targaryen and Melisandre of Asai, the Red Priestess, embody this archetype. Daenerys Targaryen stood up for oppressed people and slaves. She wants to free the world from tyrants. This is so important to her that she makes very extreme decisions and eventually becomes a tyrant herself.
Lannister, Targaryen, Baratheon, Stark, Tyrell. They're all just spokes on a wheel. This one's on top, then that one's on top, and on it spins, crushing those on the ground.
It's a beautiful dream. Stopping the wheel. You're not the first person who's ever dreamt it.
I'm not going to stop the wheel. I'm going to break the wheel.
Melisandre, the Red Priestess, is completely focused on the service of the Lord of Light and on the fight against darkness. For this, she is willing to do anything, for example, to sacrifice many people, including children, to the Lord of Light, which means that they will be burned alive. When what she considers her task is done, namely to fight the Night, respectively the White Walkers, she chooses death, for her life no longer has any meaning. Point 7. The visionary and the hero's journey. Before we can carry out a project or a plan successfully, it is necessary to define a certain intention first. We also need to be able to focus sufficiently on this intention and the goals related to it. That means that we have to exclude other projects for it, or at least ignore them for a while or leave them aside. The mythological structure of success of the hero's journey describes the different stages of the hero's development and his story. As a goal and meaningful element of the hero's journey, the hero's destiny is already present in stage number 0. In myths, destiny often reveals itself in form of a prophecy. By the way, you can find out more about this stage of the hero's journey in our video series about the hero's journey, link in the description. Point 8. How can you recognize a borderline personality disorder? If you can recognize the personality archetype of the visionary in a person, it will certainly be easy for you to recognize his pathological manifestation, for his personality traits are even more pronounced and turn out accordingly negative. In the ICD-10, the borderline personality disorder is classified under F60.31. In addition to the characteristics of a specific personality disorder, F60, which must be present in order to diagnose a personality disorder, the borderline personality disorder is a subcategory of the emotionally unstable personality disorder. See the links in the video description. The borderline type is characterized by all or some of the following 7 characteristics. Point 1. The person's self-image is unstable and their goals, both professional and private ones, are unclear. Point 2. Their relationships to fellow humans are intense, unstable, and characterized by emotional crisis. Point 3. Self-harming or self-destructive actions occur. Point 4. The person repeatedly experiences phases of desperation with suicidal thoughts. Point 5. They feel persistently empty. Point 6. Dissociative states such as depersonalization, derealization, and temporary immobility occur. The criteria in DSM-5 are quite similar. In addition, there are also some characteristics of the emotionally unstable personality disorder, as the borderline personality disorder is considered as a type of the emotionally unstable personality disorder. This is a personality disorder with a clear tendency to act out impulses without considering any consequences, combined with an unpredictable and arbitrary mood. There is a tendency to emotional outbursts and an inability to control impulsive behavior. There is also a tendency to quarrelsome behavior and to conflicts with others, especially when impulsive actions are thwarted or hindered. Maybe we will make a video about personality disorders later, perhaps in an extra channel. Simply subscribe to our channel and when the time comes we will let you know, or subscribe to our newsletter. Please find the link in the description. Someone who suffers from a borderline personality disorder is one of the typically difficult personalities. If the boss, a colleague, a spouse or a life partner, a parent or a child suffers from this personality disorder, it is usually quite challenging for the environment. So the question arises, how to deal with a balanced or unbalanced visionary? Point 9. Here are a few first tips. In order to deal well with a visionary, it is important to understand that the only thing that counts for him is his vision and the achievement of his goals. Therefore, a visionary will react with a strong aversion to the rejection of his ideas or goals. According to the motto, "Anyone who is not with me is against me," so you should not tell him that his vision may not be realizable. On the other hand, if you support him in achieving goals that support his vision, you will earn his respect. A visionary may seem extreme or somewhat unworldly to others because he pursues his ideals without compromise. It is therefore of fundamental importance not to question his vision or his goals in general. If there are any objections or concerns regarding his vision or goals, it can help him if he is given hints about possible difficulties in the implementation or achievement of his vision, since he can perceive this as interest and support. You can make yourself pleasant to him by offering him alternative helpful ways to achieve his goals. If it is possible for you to align your goals with those of the visionary, and he recognizes that your goals help to realize his vision, he will appreciate this very much and he will be willing to support you. If you want to learn more about how you can better recognize and understand this archetype in yourself and in others, and how you can develop the positive aspects of this personality archetype in you and how to overcome the negative aspects, and how you can deal optimally with people in whom this archetype is strong and perhaps unbalanced or pathologically developed, whether in therapy, business relationships or in private life, Then we look forward to meeting you personally at our seminars on the personality archetypes. Point 10. How can someone with a borderline problem bring their personality into balance? If the borderliner wants to bring their imbalances into balance, or if a well-developed visionary wants to expand their skills, or if you want to balance your inner personality archetype of the visionary, it is advisable to develop the complementary archetype of the visionary, namely the archetype of the guardian within oneself. Unlike the visionary, the guardian is not focused on visions and goals, but on possible problems and risks. He strives for safety for himself and others. To learn more about the guardian archetype, watch the video about it in our channel. Do you see yourself as a visionary? Do you know people in your surroundings to whom these personality traits correspond? What do you find particularly difficult in dealing with these people? Which well-known people, real or fictitious ones, with the characteristics of a visionary or those corresponding to a borderline personality disorder do you know? Tell us your answers and ask all your questions in the comments. We will make a video at the end of the series in which we answer your questions. We are looking forward to your comments. If not done already, like and share this video, subscribe to our channel and activate the bell to be always up to date. Thanks a lot and see you soon.